going on, everybody? I'm James. This channel is Shamwrecker Enterprises. As you can see, I'm driving in my car. Car vlogs are back, baby. Let's go. This video is going to be the first of several from this weekend. I'm actually, as I'm recording this, I'm driving down to Wichita, Kansas, specifically to Bowlero Northrock for the PBA Northrock Southwest Open. It's the fourth or fifth stop on the, I think it's the fourth stop on the Southwest region schedule this year, and the third that I am bowling. Gonna be a fun time. It's a little bit different format this week, which I think will be really fun. 8 games of full field qualifying, and then the top 32 make it to a single elimination bracket that is then best 2 of 3 matches all the way to the title. And so that's kind of a fun twist. We haven't bowled that format yet this year, so should be interesting there. But this video today, probably coming out on Friday, is going to be kind of a little bit of, you know, looking at what my expectations and goals are for the weekend, you know, strategic approach, stuff like that. Probably get a few clips from the practice session that is in about 2 hours, give or take. Yeah, got the hiccups now. And then kind of a little, like a few quick thoughts after we're done with the practice session as well. Then, assuming I can, which I think I can do this, I need to double check with Tony, the tournament director, but my plan is to actually record every competitive shot for both qualifying and, you know, if I make match play, then all of my matches as well, just to kind of bring you all along on that journey too. Might have another update video during the middle of the weekend, but definitely another kind of recap video similar to this when I'm driving back home on Sunday. So anyways, to talk about goals and overall plan for this weekend, I think we need to rewind the clock about a week or so. Last weekend was the PBA Fire Lake Southwest Open down in Shawnee, Oklahoma at the Fire Lake Bowling Center, which really cool venue, and Fire Lake is actually the sponsor of the entire PBA Southwest region and hosts the PBA Southwest Region Hall of Fame. So there's a definite connection there. Phenomenal hosts, really cool bowling alley. We were on 47-foot Badger last week, which is, you know, 47 feet. I want to say it was like a 2.5 or 3-to-1 ratio, somewhere in that range, and a pretty good chunk of volume, but nothing insane. And I kind of, like, I didn't throw it that great game one. Managed to throw one in the gutter at 40 feet on a 47-foot pattern when I wasn't playing the gutter. So that was kind of slightly embarrassing and hilarious at the exact same time. And then I brought a kind of break glass in case of emergency bag that I ended up breaking the glass in practice for no real reason whatsoever. And that ended up kind of clouding my decision making enough that I was chasing ball reaction most of the day in qualifying once I was throwing it better. And so kind of folding lessons in from that is my plan for this weekend, is to stay soft and relaxed with my swing as much as I possibly can, which will make it easier to throw it slower. And I brought a lot, well, instead of bringing 4 tournament rollers, so that'd be 11 in a spare, only brought 8 in a spare this weekend. So it's kind of leaving the experimental stuff out of it and just bringing a bunch of stuff that I know and really trust, and believing in myself to figure it out and kind of bridge that gap from having stuff that I trust to figuring out how to match that up correctly to the conditions to the best of my abilities. So as far as the pattern this weekend, it's actually fairly similar to last weekend, but on paper a little bit softer. We're on 46-foot Johnny Petraglia this weekend, which I will put a link to that pattern down in the description. Off the top of my head, well, I know it's 46 feet. I know it's a 5.2-to-1 ratio, which is that's definitely on the softer side for what we're going to see at most regionals. So I expect scores will definitely be up there. But it's still got a decent chunk of oil. I want to say it's 27-28 mils, somewhere in that range, with a roughly even split between forward and reverse, which means it won't break down super quick, but it's not gonna just like sit there and never break down ever in the fronts. So I think there will be a decent amount of transition. Where that part does get really interesting, and I just realized this morning actually, is this pattern is essentially 2 feet longer and like a little bit more ratio than what we have bowled on the last 2 years at Swiss Trios. That pattern is 44 feet, 27, 28 mils, and about a 2.5 to 1 ratio. So realistically, it's about the same amount of oil in the middle of the lane. It's just a little bit less oil on the outside of the lane. But overall, it's going to be kind of a similar concept, I think, to what we've seen the last few years at Swiss Trios, which I think will be kind of a somewhat helpful point of reference for me. But at the same time, I'm not trying to take too much from that. So like Swiss Trios last year, I threw an Infinity, an NV Tour, an NV Tour Pearl, and a Kinetic Cobalt. And that was all I used for 12 games that even looked remotely decent. Had a bunch of bigger stuff because they were played a lot slicker the year before, and that just looked terrible. So I've got a few smaller core balls and, you know, stuff that'll let me kind of control the pattern a little bit more that way. But that's still like, you know, especially with this being, you know, multiple runs of there'll be 3 or 4 runs of the pattern if I have a good run in the bracket. And, you know, it's a little bit different move protocol, and that kind of changes how the pattern breaks down a little bit as well. And there's a little bit less traffic per pair because there's only going to be 5 on a pair for qualifying. So realistically, like, I still brought a mix of stuff with me to kind of try and cover my bases a little better, rather than just assume I know exactly what the pattern's going to do. So I've got kind of, it's funny, it actually worked out to a split of four sanded balls, 4 shiny balls, and a spare ball. So the 4 sanded, which kind of think of as the generally earlier side of my bag. I've got an Extreme Envy, which is pin, they're all pin, everything's pin up except for the Summit and the spare ball. So Extreme Envy up, Summit down. My Widow 3.0 is kind of a weaker cover big ball up. And then my new NV Tour that I just drilled a month or 2 ago, which is 4.5 up. So still a little weaker than what I've been going with on small core stuff recently, but still definitely a stronger layout than what I've got on like my Extreme or my Widow 3.0. So a couple different looks there on the kind of higher traction side of the bag. And then on the cleaner side of things, I've got a Hammer Effect and a Track Theorem and a GB4 Hybrid, and all of those have the exact same layout as what I have on my Extreme Envy. So I've got some kind of, I guess, correlation, for lack of a better term, there. And then the last reactive ball is the Ocean Vibe that I actually went back-to-back 300s with for the first time ever last night in League. That has the same 5x2 pin on it as my Widow 3.0. So Extreme, Summit, 3.0, NV Tour, Effect, Theorem, GB4 Hybrid, Ocean Vibe, and then a plastic ball. So it's kind of like, are there potential small little gaps that I could see happening in there? Sure. Do I think plugging them is going to be helpful in the context of not clouding my decision making too much this weekend, especially kind of with my goals after Shawnee last weekend? I think it'd probably do more harm than good in a lot of cases, and it's kind of a bet on myself almost to just be a good bowler. So as far as kind of my goals for today, so we got the practice session in about an hour and a half as I'm recording this. Number 1 is just work on being really soft, gravity fed, and fluid with my downswing. It's 46 feet. I know Northrock hooks a decent amount and has been hooking more the past couple years, but with that said, it's still a 46-foot pattern. There's still a lot of oil in the middle of the lane. So kind of protecting against the 2-8-10 type of miss is going to be incredibly important all weekend. So that is one of my primary goals, to just soft downswing, make sure I'm making decent shots, and I'm just looking to get kind of a rough ballpark idea of what types of surfaces I'm going to need more than anything else, or kind of be able to set myself up in the general realm of where my surfaces need to be for the fresh tomorrow. That's going to be the big thing for me this weekend, I think, is if I can have the surfaces right on my fresh stuff, then I'll be able to sequence off of that okay. But it's kind of setting myself up for early success so that I'm not pressing and able to just get comfortable and make decent shots all day. If I can do that, I'll be in okay shape even if I don't make the cut. So I would like to make the cut, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. There's going to be a ton of phenomenal bowlers here. So that's my main plan for today, is stay slow, stay soft, get comfortable, get a rough idea of surfaces. And I do want to kind of spend a little bit of time moving around the house and just making sure I kind of properly remember what the different ends of the building look like, and, you know, kind of do a quick bit of scouting of, like, you know, I'll probably start practice on the pair I'm starting on tomorrow just so I can understand rough pitfalls, and then move around some after that. You know, bump to the low end, bump to the high end, and just kind of see how things seem to be progressing. Just kind of making mental notes of, like, generally what zones look okay and what zones don't. Not trying to take a ton of hard and fast decisions from this. This is more just supplemental information gathering is kind of the best way I can think to describe it. So got that today. Gonna go out and get some Tex-Mex for dinner with some friends of mine, and then qualifying is at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and then the first round of match play I think is at 6 p.m. if I remember right. So excited to have y'all along for the journey. I'll be back later with a few clips from the practice session, kind of some initial thoughts there, and then hopefully I'll have a bunch of video from qualifying and match play over the course of the weekend. For now, peace. Well, that was productive. Got one shot on video. It was a terrible shot. So I don't really have a whole lot to show you. Yeah. Mission accomplished, though. I did a really good job of just staying soft. Like, I was literally just trying to throw it as slow as I could while still controlling my swing and timing for basically 2 hours. I mean, scores are going to be high, I expect, tomorrow. Definitely, like, if I was going to make a guess for what they would have been based on the information I talked about earlier, I'd say I was pretty close to accurate, realistically. Fronts did hook quite a bit, and quite a bit more than last week, so using a huge pile of surface is probably not going to be the play unless I just want to start at fourth arrow instantly, which, thinking through, I don't know what my cross is, but I'll probably have a ball set up like that in case I need it, but definitely not my plan A. But if the field does that, then I'm going to have to do that as well, is kind of what it comes down to. So, yeah, a lot of stuff looked good throughout the day. Some, like, even at the end of the practice session, though, I could still throw my bigger stuff and get it through the pins just fine. So, like, Summit was fine from left. 3.0 was really good. NV Tour looked pretty good. So I just kind of, I don't know, I expect the fronts will feel a good bit different. The fronts and mids will feel different and break down different tomorrow, but definitely a lot of positives to take personally, of just kind of getting in a rhythm of throwing it slow on a long pattern, because that's how you get your ball through the pins consistently. So for that, definitely a win. And yeah, for now, I am going to sign off, and it is time to go eat fajitas, because Tex-Mex sounds amazing, and I am really hungry. So for now, signing off, and I will, I did get confirmation I can, in fact, record my bowling this weekend. So I will be doing that for as long as I'm in the tournament, and hopefully it's a lot of recording, but it'll at least be an 8-game block tomorrow. And I got some fun people around me, so that'll be a good time as well. So, until then, adios, y'all.